Hi, this is Chris Haughey. Thank you for joining me on Create with Chris. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable layered bunny tag perfect for Easter baskets. It's super easy, customizable with colors and names, and takes just 15 minutes to create. So grab your brushes and let's make something cute for all your peeps. This is one of the set of 3 bunny basket tags, and I decided to paint it a pretty pink. This is called Cactus Flower. I debated, I thought lavender would be really a nice color to go with as well, and then I thought green would be pretty and a pale blue. There's so many different color choices on this, and I think all of them would work well. I'm starting toward the middle of the surface and brushing it toward the outer edges. That will help to keep those side edges nice and clean. They can be touched up later, but if it can be eliminated, it just saves a little bit time when you get to the finished part. Just smoothing it on nice and even, and I will apply 2 coats, let it dry in between. I don't like to put my paint on heavy. It's so much better to do light coats as opposed to one solid heavy coat. Because I don't want the paint to run down the side edges, I'm using a flat base triangle wedge cosmetic sponge. I loaded the flat of the sponge with Snow White, just lightly tapping, and you can see it's not covering super thick and heavy. If I press really hard, it will run down the sides, so I'm just trying to be careful and get a nice even coverage. I'll let it dry, lightly sand it, and then apply another coat over top, and maybe even a 3rd coat, depending on why it's kind of fussy. It never dries incredibly opaque, so it's nice to have it smooth and even. I position the top piece over the base, and I'm taking my white chalk pencil and marking where those inside ear areas are. And what I really like about this chalk pencil is the fact that it leaves a nice strong white line, but when it gets wet it disappears. So when I go to paint the inside of the ear area, those tracing lines will automatically disappear. So I won't have to worry about removing them or erasing them. Loading my 1/4 inch awesome angle with Wild Berry. I'm going to shade around the outer edge of those ear insides, and this will just help give a little bit of dimension. Kind of sets the ears apart from the base coated background area, and you can see how those white lines just disappear. These tracing pencils were designed for sewing, so they would disappear as fabric was laundered, and they just work so ideal for painting. And I'll bump down. I was using a 3/8 inch angle. I'm going to bump down to a 1/4 inch angle to shade inside that little heart area. These are little details, but boy, they sure do make a big difference. And it's just a simple float. I've loaded my diverse dry brush with Snow White. Wipe it over a paper towel and then gently dry brush the centers of the ears. Again, this is just going to add a little more dimension. It's these little touches that really ramp it up and make it stand out and give it that elevated finished appeal. I wanted to put the eyes on the face, but I just make a dot. I'm using my painter's pal to stencil the oval eyes. I just have a dot where I want eye placement, and then I can position the stencil right over top of that dot, just center it there, and then my eyes will line up. And you can see, I like my eyes at a little bit of an angle. This is soft black. I've loaded my stencil brush, wipe it on a paper towel, lightly stencil it. I always wipe my brush on a paper towel after I load it before I stencil, and that will ensure those clean, crisp outer lines. This will take 2 coats. I thought it would be fun to put the cheeks on, and I'm using a template for that as well. I've loaded my spectacular stencil brush with the Cactus Flower, the light pink, just gently dry brushing. And with that template there, it's just a perfect little round cheek. It's adorable. Such a simple way to add cheeks perfectly, and really turns out very nice. Just takes a few little dry brushes. Picked up some Aqua Sky on the toe of my angle. I'm just going to highlight a little float along the bottom and the right side of each eye. And that little bit of aqua sky is going to add a hint of color in the eyes. I've loaded my 20-aught Epic script liner with Snow White, just pulling a nice fat comma stroke right along that bottom and up the right side, using my stylus to add a dip dot of Snow White in the top left. Make sure that paint is wet. If you get a dry puddle, it's not going to work well. And I thought it would be cute to add some little dip dots on his cheeks. I did use my micron pen to add the eyelashes and the eyebrows. And then I thought it would be fun just to add a little design around the outer edge with the micron. This is a 0.05. Just kind of taking my time. The ink will flow on nice and smoothly unless you go too fast. You can't go faster than the ink can flow out of the nib. So slow down. I'm doing a big line, 1, 2, or 3 little lines, and then another big line. I like to keep that random. It just gives a little more whimsy, a little more design, kind of finishes off the outer edge. This is such a simple piece. Often these little details are what really adds that wow factor, and the wow factor doesn't always have to be a complicated technique. And you can see what a difference just this little bit of line work is creating. Keep it fairly even from the outer edge. Don't try to rush because this really will be kind of difficult to straighten out if you make a mistake. Those pens are definitely permanent ink. I'm using the micron to add some whiskers. Again, go slow and go evenly. How cute is that? I wanted to add a little bit of dip dotting inside the ears, but it's so much easier to do it after it's glued on because I don't want to put a dot and have the top layer kind of cover up like a half a dot. I like to use tacky glue. Once I get it in place, I kind of press down. I did let it set up before adding these dip dots, and they're just random. It's not any particular pattern. I just wanted to fill it up. I kind of like them to be a little bit staggered so they don't look even and perfect. And this is just fun design. And these could even be a different color. And I wanted to put some on his little nose too. And then I had to add this cute little black and white checkered bow. I absolutely love how this little tag turned out, and I think it would be just adorable on an Easter basket. It truly was fun, quick and easy. If you would like to see the other two painted up, put it in the comments below. If you're enjoying my videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. That helps me out, and then you won't miss out on upcoming videos. If you do paint some of these up, I'd love to see what you create. Tag me or share it in the comments. I want to thank you for joining me, and I look forward to our next painting adventure together. And remember, a little bit of paint makes a big difference.